Well, it's finally that time of year when I start clearing my spring crops for my true summer crops, and right now I'm clearing this bed of spinach which I've just harvested, and we're going to be putting peppers in here. I'm going to put one of my low tunnels over this sort of cold frame, and that just raises it right up, so I get good height for the peppers. And my peppers are quite small, you'll see them later on in the video, but I've got some really nice far-on peppers in the greenhouse, so I'm not really worried about planting small peppers at this time of year, because we've got loads and loads of time for them to grow on. And yeah, I think it'll be nice for them to start young in the ground. I think they'll do better than the big plants that I've put in previous years. My strategy this year really with the peppers is all the peppers that I need to eat early on in the year, fresh, you know, in salads and stir fries and things like that, they'll come from the greenhouse, and the greenhouse will provide a nice crop, you know, from probably certainly the end of May, I should think, early June, something like that, through until October time probably, although I might put some of them outside just to create a bit more space in the greenhouse. And then this crop here will sort of start kicking in about August time probably, and then carry on until October, mid-October, something like that. So I'm going to carry on with this. Well, that won't take very long, and this bed's not too weedy, but there's a little bit just to take out. I always try to start with a pristine bed, and it doesn't take very long. I think it's always worth that little bit of extra effort. And it's very dry. I think it's wet about 4 inches down, but I do want to sort of get it rehydrated all the way up to the surface, because I'm going to mulch this bed with strulch this year. I've had a good experience actually with the strulch. It seems to deter the slugs really well and the snails, and that is a big advantage, not so much for the peppers, but it's a big advantage for the follow-on crop that will go in here, which will probably be spinach or lettuce. And obviously, well, the lettuce in particular doesn't really like slugs, so, or snails. So it's a good investment, but also it just dramatically reduces the amount of watering that I need to do. And I know there's lots of alternatives to strulch, but strulch is the easiest one for me to get hold of, and I use it from year to year, just bag it up. So over the years I've changed the way that I grow peppers, and this year I'm going to use these halos. I use these halos more and more now. I use them for the tomatoes, the cucumbers, the melons, and now I'm going to use them for the peppers. I really like them. They've got these little pegs on the bottom. Some of the ones I've got are a bit longer than that, which means that the water always goes underneath the surface, and you water into the outer ring here. You can actually feed into the inner ring. That's kind of more into the root zone, but it gives a really nice slow delivery of water, so they don't drain really quickly. They drain over an hour or so into the ground, and then I mulch around them with the strulch, so it makes it really easy to get the moisture through the mulch, because the mulch is only on the outside of these, and the water goes direct, you know, as I said, 1 inch underneath the soil there. So I really like them. I find them really convenient. It's really easy to tell how much water you've given each individual plant. The water doesn't sort of run off and go to one plant more than another plant. It's sort of evenly delivered to the plants as they need it. So yeah, I really like it. I'll just show you watering now, just as an example of how it works, and then I'll get on and pre-prepare the holes. So I'm just going to mark the holes in the centre of the pots, just so that when I put the plant pots in, I get them exactly where the halo is going to go. I'm not actually planting the peppers today, so I'm just going to sink some pots into the ground in the right places, and then I can just drop the peppers in, so it'll be really quick when I come later on in the week. And actually they've still got water in them now, so you can see it does take a while for them to drain, which is great. So just mark where the pot's going to go. I'll stick that out. I could use a bulb plant for this, but I haven't got very many to do, so it doesn't really matter too much. Right, so just drop that on the side, just get that in, just to be a bit deeper. Then I'll pre-water these holes on planting day and pop the peppers in. So there we go, that's perfect. So I don't need to leave the pot in there now, I can just take that out and that's all ready to go. Right, I've put in all those planting holes now. And so now I'm just going to put the straulch in. I'm going to use last year's straulch and save the new stuff for the melons. And straulch is just straw, and it's been chopped up and coated with iron, I think, which the slugs and snails don't like. And as I say, I just collected this up from last year. I'm just going to put a couple of inches down like that. So that's a really quick and easy process. And as you can see, you get this really nice sort of situation there, a nice thick layer of straulch, which really locks in the water, and then the halo just fits in that gap. And yeah, I really like it. It's expensive, but you know, I just gradually buy a few more of these each year, and over the 8 years I've kind of ended up with enough for everything basically, and never lost one. They're all still in good working order. So yeah, I think it's a nice investment, especially if you favour nice easy gardening like I do. So now I just need to get this low cover over. These get heavier every year. There we go. Right, I'm back on the plot. It's evening, and I like to plant in the evenings. These are my little peppers, looking okay. So hopefully, if I've done my prep work right, then these should not be pot bound, and I should just be able to drop those in, just settle them into the pots, into the holes rather. So that is a nice quick process. I only potted these on a few weeks ago, but they've got good roots on them, so I'm pretty happy with them. I'm often guilty of leaving things until there's a whole full-on white root ball, but this year I've tried to make sure that that's not the case, because once you've got a solid root ball, the plants pretty much don't really grow any more roots beyond that. Whereas these are looking pretty good. Oh, lovely. So I will carry on with this. So that's my attempt at precision planting. Pretty pleased with the way that went. And I did pre-water the holes as I suggested, and yeah, so I'm not going to water them now for a while because the Plants were well watered already, the ground's well watered, the hole's pre-watered, so everything's kind of set up for success, and hopefully they'll concentrate on some root growth now. And I'm going to do some beetroot. So this is the bed I prepared a few days ago, and as I said, it's got some challenges because it's going to be in shade for half the day, so I'm going to give the beetroot a reasonably generous spacing, but they are multi-sown as well. I think I'm giving them about 9 inches, something like that. And I will be feeding them, although I haven't fed them yet, this bed yet. I'll feed it later on, I think, with a bit of bloodfish and bone. So I've got a really nice selection of seedlings here. I've got Albina, which is the white one, Detroit 2, which is a red one, and Patello, which is a red one, and I've got some golden beetroot in another tray. And you can see they're just slightly leggy, but I always plant my beetroot nice and deep. I'll show you that now. So I'm not doing too many of the white ones because I don't know how well it keeps. And I know that the other two varieties, the red varieties, keep really well. And I'm going to put the modules with small numbers of seedlings towards the back where it's going to be more shaded and they stand less of a chance. So I think I'll just do 2 rows of the Albina. And yeah, I think now we'll get up close and you can see exactly how I'm planting. Right then, so pop them out with my finger and just pick them out like that. You can see quite nice little root ball, but not root bound by any means. And just pop it in and then I just squash it down a little bit and settle it in. So in, squash it down, settle it in. Squash it down, settle it in. I mean, when you're squashing it down like that, obviously you are kind of squashing the roots just a little bit, but I don't know, I just find that it settles it in nicely. And then just the same, I've got one here with just 2 seedlings in it, so that's going to go towards the back. Another one there with 2, so again that'll go near the back. And the ones with 3 closer to the front. So that's a nice quick process, just got to settle those in. And then we'll get on with these golden beets. Germination's not quite as good with those, but too good a germination's a problem. I've tried to get the modules with 3 in them because 3 to me seems to be the kind of optimal size for storage beets. We've got all the beets for summer in the polytunnel already. Yeah, I'll just show you the beetroot in the polytunnel so you can see the difference in how far on they are whilst I just settle these in. I am going to water these in because it is going to be quite warm over the next few days, which is why I'm getting them planted tonight. So I'm really happy with that. I put this temporary net on because we have a lot of beet leaf miner issues around here, and this should keep that off, because I think beet leaf miner is basically about the size of a house fly. So just this cheap and cheerful scaffold netting is perfectly adequate, and I'm all done. So I thought we'd just check back in on these beetroot, see how they're doing a couple of days later, and they're doing lovely. Standing up straight. Yeah, they've all settled in. Great. So I think I'm done. My name's Steve. This is the Seaside Kitchen Garden and Allotment channel, and I'll see you soon.